Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's podcast, which is going to be about ways to adopt a more sustainable living. This podcast is part of the GenZ4GD project, which is co-funded by the European Union, and its aim is to engage the Generation Z with sustainable development. Today with us, we have an environmental expert, Argyro Ioannou. Thank you very much, Argyro, for being here.
Hello to everyone. I'm glad that you invited me today here to talk about sustainable living and for Generation Z.
So, Argyro, thank you very much. And what is your background? How did you end up to the environmental spectrum?
Well, I have studied environmental science at the Cyprus University of Technology in 2007. And then I had my second degree in mechanical engineering because I wanted to be more active with resources, energy resources and energy savings issues, and to get included in more technical characteristics of energy saving. And now I'm having my master degree in MBA.
Oh, that sounds cool and very interesting career path that you have chosen.
I like to take different education paths.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about sustainable living. How would you define a way of living sustainably?
Sustainable living has a wide range of many actions. It have to deal with waste, with water, with energy, with pollution, in everything that we are surrounded by. And we have to be careful with everything if we want to have a more healthy lifestyle in nowadays and every day, and for the future, for the next generation.
That sounds very interesting. So how are we going to do this? How can we be more sustainable? What are the aspects that we should focus on?
Well, we have to be more focused in little steps at the beginning as individually. I mean, it's not have to be, we do not have to be focused or forced to do it. It must come naturally. We have to have in our mind that everything we do, it's for our health first, and then for the environment as well, because they are going as part. So we have to think about recycle, reusing, anywhere that we can buy from second-hand shops, or for clothing, for furniture, if it's possible. We can recycle everything. Like if we don't have a bin next to our house for glass, is not so bad to search and go because in Cyprus we drive a lot, many distances to come to work, to go to university. So it's very possible to just come all glass together in your car. And so when you find the correct bin, you will have them in your space to be able to recycle them correct. So other thing from recycle, it can be to protect the water, to reduce as much as possible the use of water, to be sure that when we leave from the kitchen, there is no water running, or from the bathroom, or we could, nowadays there is in fashion the DIY with the gardening, that you put plants in your garden, and then you can buy just a pipe, and the water that goes down from the soil, you can gather it again, and you can use it the next week to water your plants. And there are many ways if you want to live sustainable. And another thing is with the energy, with the lights. I think that we should be more careful from the light that we turn on, turn off, or with the television or the electrical appliances. They have to have standby mode now. It be energy efficiency, to have the labels of energy efficiency, because before we buy them, it's good to check these small technical specifications.
Wow, you said a lot of ideas, to be honest. Yeah, that sounds like a lot. But from all of these, which are the best two that everyone should try out and start building on their journey to become more sustainable?
Everyone.
Which are easy steps? Because you said before that we have to do it by our hearts and then follow some rules. Which ones are the most easy to go by your heart?
Well, I believe that for everyone, for all the range of ages, because it's different to talk with more old people than the new generation. It's the communication is different and how they realize some things are so different. But for the beginning, we should think about energy saving, because it's much or less have more benefits with our money, because now the electricity is very expensive. So for the better of all of one, we have to be more careful with the energy saving.
Yeah, I definitely agree. The prices at the moment are so high.
Yes.
But here comes the government as well, because the government has a place in the prices of the electricity, but it also can have a role when it comes to living more sustainably. Do you think that the government can be very helpful, or on the opposite side, will not help us to become more sustainable? What do you think?
Government is trying to help us be more sustainable because of the environmental laws that are in all Europe now, and we are a lot of checks have from the Ministry of Energy that they ask for reports from all the other ministries to check the reduction or if steps have been made for energy saving. But the government can help a lot in order to help its people to live more sustainable. That's why it has financial funds for photovoltaics, for solar panels to heat the water, for insulation on the roofs. It's some they took some money for this purpose. They have targets. Each country have the targets to reach some to reduce the footprint of
the carbon footprint of ourselves. Yes.
Yes.
So apart from the government, our lives are also kind of determined by corporations and big companies. For example, I want to become zero waste, but when I order my coffee, I get a single-use cup.
Yes.
So do you think that corporations and companies have a big influence on our way of living, and they affect it in a sustainable or a not sustainable way?
Yes, they do. They have a big amount of responsibility in the part of sustainable living, and they have a role that everyone must be more careful. That is why in constructions, for example, if they do not recycle correct all the materials of the construction, then they are forced to pay some money in order to be more careful with their waste. So the government is trying to teach the business that you have to follow some steps in order to have more sustainable living. But I think that these have to do and with the state of plans that are made in each business. You know that because there are businesses that they do not care. They have business that they do not have time or they do not have anyone to educate them what to do. They have companies that everyone wants to live sustainable, all the people of a business. So if you go there, you will ask them specifically, do you recycle paper? Yes. Do you recycle plastic? Yes. Do you recycle your, when you drink Coca-Cola or 7-Up or the aluminum? Yes, we have different bins for all the waste that we use. And if you go to a small company that, I don't know, make in constructions or in building materials, they would say, oh, we have to build towers and we do not have time for the 2 papers that we waste every day. But they do not count that in 2 months, it will be a full bin of waste, of mixed waste, that someone have to separate them.
Okay, and who should be responsible to separate them, generally, in families, in companies?
Yes. Well, that is why I believe that the government should go and check the buildings one by one. I mean, because I had before a research project about how big business in Cyprus management their waste, but it was for big business, and that was a way to check them, but it was for statistics projects. I mean, I couldn't force them what to do, but I could suggest them. I just went to count the numbers of the total waste that they had each year and put statistics. If, for example, we had for an oil and gas company that they have trucks, they have a lot of cars, a lot of dangerous and toxic waste management, which they were followed every step that they should do, because someone came from the government last year and told them that how you manage them is wrong. You have to management correct. So they did. But everything have to start from somewhere, step by step.
That's why we are doing this project, to educate young people so they can be the influencers of the new generation and carry out all of this education material by themselves.
Yes.
So what do you think is the role of this new generation, the Gen Z, when it comes to living more sustainably?
Well, okay. We should, if we compare the new generation with the old people, it's a fact that as it concerns the sustainable living is a new science. So a lot of businessmen that they had a business for now 20 years ago, it's more difficult to communicate with them and explain them that it's important for your grandchildren to do this thing. But if you start educate now a young mind that it's full with energy and fresh ideas and life to be more creative and more helpful where they will be one day, then it's more easy to to advance some educate for every kind of education. But as it concerns sustainable living, the new generation, I think that already have an idea of what is it.
This is very useful as well. That's why we are seeing many times that is the younger generation that took the lead, especially when it comes to climate activism that is related to sustainable living.
Yes.
And they were the ones like Fridays for the Future. They were the ones that demanded that strong legislation should be placed on corporations to be more sustainable and help the environment.
Yes.
But also, the younger generation has access to technology, to social media.
Yes.
What do you think about that? I mean, social media is they have such a huge potential when it comes to influencing people.
Yes, they have it. And nowadays, influencers in general, they have affect the people's mind for a range of ages, not only the new generation, but it's a fact that if someone is influencer, 90% of their followers are not only young, they have all the range of ages. But in this part that new generation uses technology, they have access to a lot of data every day. So for them, it's an advantage, yes, because when they want to look for something or they think of something, it's very easy to have access and learn more things. The trick here is to learn how to search correct what they want to find, because this is the problem that we have with new generation, that he wants to be more famous, he wants to feel more wanted than learn more things when they have this access that we didn't have.
Yeah, I know what you mean, yes.
But they don't know it, they cannot understand it, so it's our target to explain them.
I know what you mean, but the future is based on them.
Yes.
And that leads me to the final question about how do you imagine the future? Will it be more sustainable? Will it be less sustainable than we are today? How do you imagine it?
Well, how do I imagine it? Okay, I am a little bit afraid of this because I see that, for example, when we had the lockdown, we had a lot of examples that air pollution was reduced and the atmosphere was cleaned. A lot of roads were closed, so you could breathe fresh air after 30 years, I don't know. And this should be a lesson, especially for big countries like they have the road with 6 roads, and I mean highways that pollute the air every day. So it should be an example for them that it's not you do not have to have so many active like the laboratories. You should try to be in steps, because the air pollution, it have to be and with the numbers. I mean, until a range of numbers, you can face them. But if it over limit these numbers, it's very difficult. You have to double all the ways to have the to clean them and to have them like and to face them.
Yeah.
Yes,
I know what you mean.
So, for example, for the electric cars that we have now, for example, in Cyprus, we have now a financial fund that you can install a photovoltaic that will be used to charge your car. Okay, but if you do not put the photovoltaic, how you will charge? You have to pay electricity. And how you will have this electricity if the electric authorization of Cyprus doesn't have for its own resources energies to use, I mean for its own needs, not for each house.
Mm-hmm.
So everything must be counted to have to do not overcome the limits that are based for the footprint carbon dioxide.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, I definitely understand what you're saying there. So yeah, hopefully in the future, all of these balances will benefit the society and that we're going to have a more sustainable future.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So thank you very much for being here, Argyro. It was a pleasure. And
yes, thank you. Thank you too.
Thank you very much.
It was a pleasure too.
Perfect.